coming to Bharat Jodo Yatra, the name itself describes what's the intent of the Yatra. We have seen all the coverages, we have read about it. We know why the Yatra was organized. But we don't know your perspective. Politically, what were your learnings from this Yatra? I'm sure you have met thousands of people. You have heard their stories. You held their hands. You walked with them from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. So politically, what were your learnings from it? And as a human being also.
I mean, politically, my learnings were that in 21st century India, the communication architecture is so captured by the BJP that it is practically impossible to talk to the people of India through that communication architecture. And I mean, for example, it's very clear that even things like my YouTube channel, my Twitter, they're all suppressed. There's no question about it, and we can see it. Right? So, the Yatra was almost a necessity for us to communicate. Because no matter what we say in the opposition, it does not move through without distortion in the national media. And so for me, the big learning was old style communication. Going and meeting people, which frankly Gandhiji pioneered in India in the modern era. Others pioneered it, in the older times, and you have examples all over the world, all over India. That still works. And what was beautiful to me was that no matter how much energy the BJP put, no matter how much the media tried to distort, it didn't work. Because there was a direct connection. And for every story that the BJP media was trying to put in, there were thousands and thousands of videos coming from people which were contradicting that story. So it was almost a reverse capture of the mass media. And this problem is being faced across the world. This problem is not just an Indian problem. It's being faced in many other countries. And when I go there and I speak to them, it's very interesting that pretty much all countries are feeling this type of pressure.
That's correct.
That's a political learning. And I mean, that's fine. But for me, the personal learning was even more interesting, which was that where you think your limit lies is nowhere where your limit actually lies. So your limit is much, much further than you can even imagine. And it's not just in, politics, it's in everything. And I think it's the same for everybody. That normally you'll think, okay, मैं वहाँ तक जा सकता हूँ, या मैं ये कर सकता हूँ. But by definition, when you're thinking that you can do that, right, you're already shortchanging yourself. Because what you can do is almost not imaginable to you.
Rahulji, I'm sure there might be some learnings.
See this, I get disturbed when we're having this type of conversation. You call me Rahul or call me, Mr. Gandhi or something. This Rahul ji doesn't, I don't like it.
Oh, no.
Because I'm not calling you G, so then you shouldn't call me G.
Okay, so I'll stick to Mr. Gandhi.
Yeah, call me Rahul, right?
Yeah.
Rahul's good.
So Rahul, this yatra, after the yatra or while you continuing the yatra as well, when I mentioned political learnings, I'm sure you might have come out with few solutions which you might want to implement if voted to power. There might be certain issues which you might have picked up during the yatra that you know that it can be solved like this or like that, or whatever. So are there any issues which you want to pick up if voted to power and find solutions to it?
See, when you're thinking about these things, there are a couple of levels at which you have to view them.
Right.
So, the foundational level, in my view, is there fairness and participation? Meaning, for example, does the Northeast feel that it is participating in the national conversation? Does the Northeast feel that its ideas, its culture, its vision is being incorporated in the national conversation? So that would be a basic fairness, right? And there, on many axes, India is just completely failing, right? I did a speech in Parliament where I raised the point that the core of Indian government, 90 people who run this country, and they have much more power than MPs and MLAs. They decide policy. That's not how it was supposed to be. MLAs and MPs were supposed to decide policy. And that's how we started. But today bureaucrats decide policy. And so I looked at the 90 top bureaucrats in this country and I was shocked. I mean, I was completely blown away. 3 of them are OBCs. Now the question arises, what is the percentage of OBCs in India? What is the percentage of Dalits in India? What is the percentage of tribal minorities in India? If we do not know that, we cannot even begin to question, to address the issue of fairness. No, fairness, right? We know by and large there are 50% women in India. So we have a sense of, okay, we know how to address this issue. Because we know there are 50% women, and so it should be by and large 50% breakdown. If I see 50% women sitting here, I'm comfortable, right? But in large areas, we just don't know it. So for me, the caste census now is a central pillar of thinking about equity in this country. So that would be at the broader level. And then you say, okay, are we giving our kids the type of education we should be giving? Are we giving them and their parents and their grandparents the type of healthcare system that we should be giving them? And then there we have examples. So I was in Rajasthan yesterday, and I think the healthcare solutions that we have come out with in Rajasthan are cutting edge anywhere on the planet in the 21st century. And so there we can see that, okay, there are some ideas that Rajasthan has developed. If you go to Chhattisgarh, some of the work that we are doing with connecting traditional production activities, manufacturing activities, some of the work we're doing with farmers is completely cutting edge. You go to Karnataka, the social security system we have set up in Karnataka is cutting edge. So there are examples of these things. We can look and say, okay, this state is doing well. Rajasthan can become a framework for a national healthcare solution.